communication channels we have in place for the project. In Twitter, in YouTube, also the website, newsletters. As you may know, we are approaching the end of the project, so now I believe most of the materials that will be produced will be much more useful for all the external audience as well. So this the agenda for today is well, basically I will introduce, for those who are not fully aware of what is the NAIADES ecosystem, the NAIADES project itself. I will shortly introduce the project, how we reach, how we came up with a list of the exploitable results, and how we foresee the near future for the partners, and also for the services solutions that we have developed during these 3 years. Then we will have a session in which some of the partners will introduce their developments. It will be, let's say, an explanation towards the potential exploitation of each of the solutions, taking into account mainly the value proposition and how these developments are, let's say, unique, or at least can have an impact or a benefit in the water market in the near future. And then we will have a short session about the feedback from audience, questions and answers, and so on. So I would kindly ask you to wait till the end of the sessions to ask any doubt, any question you may have about any of the results we will be introducing here. So we will start with a very general information about the project. NAIADES started in 2019, will finish in a couple of months. It's co-funded by the European Commission with a 5 million budget. So basically the goal of NAIADES is to develop a platform, a holistic solution for the effective digitization of the water sector from a wide perspective, solving real problems from water utilities, but also from municipalities. All in all, trying to solve these problems from a water perspective, and implementing digitalized solution in each of these processes. So we have, as you have seen, we have 3 pilot areas in Alicante, Spain, in Braila, Romania, and in Carus, Switzerland. So each of them has specific problems we have solved during this project. You will see how we have been dealing with most of them, but basically the objective was to provide an interoperable platform which could serve as a marketplace for different services addressing each of the problems. We will have service for water demand prediction, for saline intrusion detection, water consumption awareness and behavioral change support in Alicante. In Braila, we have implemented water demand forecast, leakage reduction, and treatments prediction in as a service in the platform. And in Carus, this is an interesting approach because we are not dealing with water utilities here, but also with municipality. So we are solving and we are implementing potential benefits in watering solutions, also in water quality for fountains and so on. So this project from the very beginning was intended to solve real problems. We are not developing basic research. We are developing applied research, and the TRL of the results have to be very close to the market because that is what we intended to do from the beginning. So we had in mind two kinds of key exploitable results. The first is the Nayades ecosystem, the joint exploitation, basically the integrated platform with all the services running on it. And then as well individual exploitable results, which will be also shown today in the presentation. But basically we had to manage the exploitation plan in such a way that very technical people, researchers involved in the project had a good understanding on how to demonstrate, how to explain the value proposition of their really valuable developments from a market perspective. So from the beginning, again, we had the pitch sessions, we had a lot of work developing this identification of key exploitable results. We developed a value proposition canvas for each of the solutions, putting the customer and their needs in the front of these developments. And we came up finally with, I would say, a long list of key exploitable results, ranging from the integrated platform up to each of the services running on it. So I will not go into detail, of course, of this list, but this is, I mean, today we will have a short presentation of some of those, some of these exploitable results. And so if any of you have interest in some others, we may organize further webinars or direct contact between partners. So I will leave the floor to the presenters from the pitch session. So we will start with the NAIADES Integrated Platform. Simona, if you are available, you can share your screen and present your result. Simona, can you hear me?
Yes, hello, I hear you. Okay. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Please. Do you see my share? Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen?
Yes, but we don't see the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
So,
now, yes.
my name is, hello, my name is Simona Bica. I am Senior Business Consultant with SIMAVI Romania, and I will present you the NAIADES Integrated Platform. I want to mention that our presentation was drafted from the technical commercial perspective, addressing not only the cutting-edge technological approach, but also some relevant aspects regarding the exploitation. So, the technical solution of the NAIADES integrated platform has an innovative architectural design based on multiple layers, specific components, and orchestrated services for data collection and aggregation, data analysis, data processing, data modeling, smart algorithms, interoperability, communication, and security.
Simona,
Yes.
sorry, can you put it on presentation mode? Because maybe it's difficult to see small letters. Yeah, you have there a start slideshow, I think.
Now it's better.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you very much. Okay, great. In details, the architectural solution of Nayades Integrated Platform is compliant with state-of-the-art references architectures that are already validated in industrial and smart city sectors like RAMI and FIOR. The Nayades Integrated Platform has a complex architectural design based on business interconnections, interoperability requirements, big data infrastructure and management, communication and security. Moreover, our solution is based on innovative microservices architecture, which allow the phase maintainability, flexibility, and stability of the platform. The integrated solution is based on an innovative IoT architecture, providing the water services providers, utilities, to easy access services in order to speed up their decision making to do efficient data analysis and processing. In terms of interoperability, the Nayades is an open platform and future-proof platform, including innovative technologies. The Nayades integrated platform was designed as a water utilities-oriented solution, comprising major functional components such as data collection and storage from a large number of devices from the field, the layer of data collection and aggregation, water consumption monitoring, water observatory, awareness and behavioral change support, environmental monitoring, weather forecasting, water demand forecast, water quality parameters forecast, dynamical treatment suggestions, failure and leakage prediction, decision support system, human-machine interface, and the specific component of marketplace, one-stop shop dedicated to that offers services to third parties or other customer interested. In brief, the key features of Nayades integrated platforms are the following: monitoring and detection, data modeling and fusion, smartening the water utilities infrastructure and processes, forecasting and analytics, optimization, alerts based on artificial intelligence-driven algorithms and models. In the next two slides, we present also a graphical representation of some major functionalities offered by the solution for one of our pilots in Braila. The first one is dedicated to water demand. We'll see a lot of interesting parameters, flows, and also specific design dedicated to end users from the water services providers. The second one is dedicated to the detection leakages, where also we have a lot of information about the parameters collected from the field and specific diagrams concerning the early detection leakages. In terms of business model and value proposition, we propose as appropriate the multi-stakeholder business model targeting multiple stakeholders with their role in communicating, promoting, and also commercializing our solution, like governance, which sets policies and strategies, water services providers and utility providers as customers, municipality or local representative that could be also customers or facilitators, lobbyists. Technology providers, even they are from scientific community, non-profit organizations, technology and services, industries, cloud services, and other like strategic or key partners or customers. Also, European Union institutions, national public authorities, standardization bodies, clusters, European technology platforms, public bodies and organizations that could be also our key partners or lobbyists or facilitators. Regarding the value proposition, NAIADES Integrated Platform helps the water services providers who want to get smart capabilities in the water management by minimizing technical infrastructure and financial risk. Our solution ensures a better forecast of the water demand, water quality, and water losses. It is an innovative and smart solution for water management. It was designed as a water services providers oriented solution. We also propose an innovative business model designed to build the NAIADES ecosystem. Regarding the challenges and benefits of implementing NAIADES, these challenges and benefits arise from the major functional components, and they are monitoring and detection, optimizing the water consumption and reducing the energy consumption, reducing water losses and waste, forecasting water demand, alerts based on smart algorithms and models, increasing the quality of water based on quality parameters forecast and dynamical treatment suggestions, optimizing the management of the water utilities infrastructures and also the time of staff and operators, ensuring the process transparency and clarity of roles and responsibilities. As conclusions focused on results and achievements, we are now ready to answer to the question, why to be part of NAIADES ecosystem? Because of our value proposition to stakeholders. We offer an integrated platform that enables smart capability in water management for water services providers. We offer smart capability on forecasting the water demand and water quality. We offer a smart capability on water consumption and water losses. But also, our solution is a smart, safe, and reliable. NAIADES Integrated Platform is a smart metering solution to support infrastructure and processes of water services providers. Also, the NAIADES Integrated Platform provides water consumption optimization, monitoring, and trustful control tools. And also, NAIADES Integrated Social Platform has a dedicated intuitive user interface for the final users based on their experiences and real needs and demands. This was my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm ready to answer to your questions.
Thank you, Simona. I think this presentation shows the complexity of such a platform which has to manage many different services for different users. Yeah, that is exactly what I explained before. We have this view of an ecosystem, integrated platform in which all the services will be running. But of course, there are individual services, individual solutions that can be exploited as well separately. And that is what we will see now in the next slides. So Evangelias, if you can share your screen, you can start with your Water Consumers Awareness Hub.
Hi, do you see my screen?
We still cannot see. Yes, yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll present you the Water Consumer Awareness Hub, NAIADES Water Consumer
Evangelia,
Awareness.
if I can interrupt you as
Yes.
well, please present it in presentation mode. If you can. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I think.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
The NAIADES Water Consumer Awareness Hub includes 3 different applications that assist different type of users towards achieving awareness and behavioral change for efficient water usage. The first application that I'll present you is the Water Consumption Awareness Dashboard. Water management companies and public officials need water consumption awareness tools and mechanisms to better understand available consumption data. In order to cover their need, we have developed a water consumption awareness dashboard that supports public officials to monitor and understand how water is consumed in a consumption point, to compare consumption across various dimensions, to take decisions regarding water consumption mitigation measures based on such information, and to monitor the impact of consumption mitigation measures after their implementation. In this slide, you can see the main page of the city dashboard. Public officials can see all the watering consumption points in a map. Consumption points are presented with different colors, ranging from green to red, based on the level of water consumption over the last week. Users can see the average daily water consumption for all consumption points on a graph view. Also, the dashboard presents the yearly water consumption in cubic meters per different use. Finally, users can filter the depicted points on the map based on their type. In this slide, you can see the list view of all consumption points of public gardens. Users can search a consumption point by its name or meter ID and see more details about each consumption point by clicking the search icon in the More column, which redirects to the corresponding consumption point details page. The details page shows the water consumption during the last week compared to the previous week, the monthly water consumption during this year compared to the previous year. In addition, it presents the daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly water consumption change. And finally, users can download the PDF report dedicated to the consumption points of a specific type. The second application that I'll present you is the watering application. Plants watering commonly leads to unnecessary water consumption and waste of human resources. In order to cover their needs, we developed a web application for raising awareness on flower boxes watering consumption and improving the watering process's efficiency towards water conservation and time savings for public employees. In this session, you can see the main page of the watering hub. The user can see the boxes, their watering needs for today, tomorrow in a map and in a list view. When the user clicks on a cluster on the map, the list view updates to highlight and present details about the selected cluster. Also, when the user clicks on a cluster on the list view, the pop-up window of the selected cluster is opened on the map. Also, users can see the temperature and humidity prediction for the next 3 days. Also, users can click on the bottom view suggested route. The upper redirects them to the view route page, which shows a route that is in order to drive to different flower beds. City workers can provide feedback to the AI module in order to improve its future suggestions. The watering application use the track position to automatically open the cluster detailed dashboard when it senses that the track is near to a cluster. Each time the employees close the hose, an event is sent from the track sensor. The cluster details page is updated based on the watering sensor values, and the employee views the amount of water that he has used and if this is in the recommended range. Also, users can report problems related to the flower beds. And finally, users can see some historical data and predictions about each box. Also, city workers can see and download daily reports. User can also see a monthly report of the water consumption per box and per clusters, and they can have a monitor of the monthly progress. And users can adjust the time frame of the periodic report by selecting different time ranges using the date picker. The third application that I'll present you is the school dashboard. Water utilities need to be able to deploy ICT-supported behavioral change support programs to engage consumers in water conservation. In order to cover their need, we have developed a web-based application tailored for intervention of public schools, engaging young users with the support of their teachers. The application allows to run behavioral change support campaigns on schools, monitor them and access their impact. The application also supports different persuasive strategies, including self-monitoring, rewards, and suggestions. In this screenshot, you can see the main page of the school dashboard. When students log into the app for the first time, the screen below appears, which provides information regarding the school's consumption compared to other schools in 3 different types of leaderboards, aiming to motivate students to reduce their water consumption. In the main page of the dashboard, on the weekly consumption tab, students can see a leaderboard that shows the schools ranked based on their water consumption in the last week. Also, the dashboard provides feedback and comparison-based interventions in order to persuade students to make more sustainable choices. The dashboard shows a graph that compares water consumption of a student school compared to average water consumption and the water consumption of the best 20% of schools. Also, a persuasive message is included, nudging students to either try more to reduce their consumption or rewarding them for their efforts, depending on the school's position in the list. On the overall consumption change tab, students can see a leaderboard that shows the schools ranked based on the degree that their water consumption has changed since the start of the competition. Total water consumption per hour and total water consumption per day of each school is presented in the statistic page, and teachers can export and download consumption reports. Also, the school dashboard provides a forum where users can share their posts with other users, either from the same school or from other schools. The posts are moderated by the teachers. The NAIADES watering application will be used by city workers in Karus, aiming at improving the watering process efficiency towards water conservation and time savings. Aquas del Cante collaborate with local schools authorities to apply the NAIADES approach in the previous academic year to primary and secondary schools, aiming at increasing students' awareness on water consumption of their school and engage them in water conservation activities. And the NAIADES City Dashboard will be used by public officials in Alicante in order to help them monitor and understand how water is consumed in a specific consumption point. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evangelia. Yeah, I think this is a clear example on the kind of results developed in this project, working with end users, with consumers, water consumers from a very broad perspective, from the city workers till public officials, municipalities, up to the real end users, and in this case, especially students, which will have a clear impact on their water consumption awareness, which is a key topic nowadays. Okay, thanks again, Evangelia. Next presentation is about the human-machine interface and integrated decision support system by Iosif Sklavidis from Konnektable. Iosif, if
Yes,
you can
hello, I'm
share
here.
your screen, thank you.
Let me share my screen, and please let me know if you can see it. Can you see it? Can you see my screen?
Yes, please use the
Perfect.
presentation mode.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Hello, everyone. This is Iosif Sklavidis. I am a technical manager in Konnektable Technologies. I'm going to present to you the HMI and integrated DSS. We'll keep this simple. So let's start by problems, worldwide problems, in my opinion, like water pollution, climate change, energy consumption, of course. All these kind of problems and more of them have a crucial impact to water consumption, leakages, and saline intrusions in cities, of course. Also, starting from homes, from schools, from sport facilities, fountains, whole cities are in great danger caused by the water overconsumption, the water pollution, the water quality, of course. So, what we are proposing as a project is to have a human-machine interface with the aim of detecting water consumption levels, water qualities, leakages, anomalies on the water. All this, the HMI integrates, technologies from other partners of the project, like the one that Evangelia showed to you before, or Simona. And as an outcome, we would like to provide some recommendations and forecasts about the water consumptions, the levels of the consumption, weather forecast, saline intrusions, among others. So, an example from HMI screens. This is the leakage screen. You can see on your left green pins. That green pins are installed sensors that are detecting the leakages of an area. And with the help of another company, JSI, on NAIADES project, we have integrated other kind of pins with new suggested locations with the aim of detecting new leakages in another areas. This was from Braille use case. Whatever you've seen from HMI or DSS are use case driven. We have 3 use cases areas: Braila from Romania, Carus from Switzerland, and Alicante from Spain. In this screen, you can see the fountains. The fountains are from Carus. You can see water quality forecast, measurements, for example, from pH, chlorine, and some of kind of forecast, depending on the time, of course, plus 6 hours, 12 hours, in order for the end user to have a better situation awareness, how this, the water quality is addressed. Also, you can see here Alicante screen, the water demand screen. This screen provides water consumption levels in real time, next day forecast, or next week forecast. Also, a long-term module, the long-term water consumption, meaning for every area, we have 7 areas from Alicante, small areas, I mean, like Benalú, Autobasis, and Rambles, for example. You can see also next month forecast, next year forecast in that kind of areas. And also you can see alerts from the DSS for the leakage detection on this area, as you can see in the screen, for the consumption levels. Red or green pins, if the consumption is on a high level, you can see a red pin in the screen. If the water consumption is low, you can see a green screen, a green pin, excuse me. Also, salinity intrusion, another example from Alicante-based use case. Salinity, for example, salinity depends on the conductivity levels and the flow levels as far as the anomaly detected in the water quality, of course. And this is how we can, we have all these kind of parameters as an input in our decision support system in order to inspect if there is going to be a salinity intrusion in our water. You can see below in the, from the DSS feed some alerts. Due to rainfall events, the conductivity levels are low, and maybe there are salinity intrusions. Coming all these inputs from installed sensors on specific areas, and also if a DSS is there, alert is generated, you can see on your bottom right a map with polygons of these areas, in order for the end user to have, you know, more convenient view where he can look. So another part of HMI is the user management. As the partners said before, we will have city workers, we will have overall administrator of our solution, our whole solution. Maybe we'll have water operators. So then users have the capability to split the screens depending on some roles in order to continuously detect every aspect of the city. So what we can manage to do by using HMI, the integrated DSS, and all the other integrated components by the partners, we could have continuous situational awareness on our water consumption levels, or leakages, or some alerts, of course. We could have real-time monitoring, forecasts about the next hours, the next days, the next week, even next month, and some proposed solutions coming from, or recommendation coming from our decision support system in order for the end user how he can monitor or face the overall danger of the overconsumption of the water. That's all from my side. Thank you. Jose?
Thank you, Iosif. Yes, I think, yes, thank you. Yeah, I think your presentation goes one step beyond, not only monitoring and showing relevant data to users, but also proposing solutions as part of your DSS. So yeah, thank you very much. I think we can move to the next one, Thanasis Anagnostis from CERTH, about the weather forecasting toolkit you have developed. The floor is yours.
Correct. Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, you can see it.
Great. Okay. So I'm Thanasis Anagnostis from CERTH, Thessaloniki, Greece, and I will be discussing about the AI microservice of NAIADES platform, which is about weather forecasting. So we all know about weather forecasting. We see it at the news every night. The way it's done now, it's by numerical computations. It's very accurate. It's physics-based. It considers atmospheric phenomena. You get insights for the big picture, and the results can include a very wide range of variables. But it's very it's not very accurate in general. It's conditionally accurate. It parameterizes microscale phenomena, so let's say that it doesn't take them into very large account. It's very time-consuming. It's resource-intensive. It needs a lot of processing power, and this way, it's very costly. So how do we tackle the cons? We take another approach, the data-driven weather forecasting, which employs historical data and AI algorithms to produce these predictions. We live in the age of data. We have the hardware costs are very low at the moment, and we have all the background with mathematics and the artificial intelligence algorithm to support all of these things in order to solve some specific problems based on the collected data that we have. But the question here in this seminar is who would want this and why? So the people who would want this is about some operations like city planning, facility management, in agriculture, aviation, construction, and in general, in many areas that very specific weather predictions are required. And the reason I believe it's very obvious, it's to deal with microclimatic effects, to increase spatial granularity, reduce computational cost, of course, and have a system that continuously improves through time and select which parameters you want to use. And you can utilize also some heterogeneous streams of data, so not only direct weather variable data. This leads us to creating something that is called hyperlocal weather. Why do we need hyperlocal weather, especially in urban environments? We have some phenomena which are called urban heat island, which I guess everybody has experienced this in the same city. In different parts, you have different weather. I mean, maybe in one part of the city it rains, in the other it's very hot and humid and stuff like this. So what is the relevance to the water sector? Of course, this is relevant because the temperature variability is very dominant in urban environments, and the water demand and consumption is directly related to the weather conditions. So weather utilities or municipalities can better plan their resources. And in such localized operations, maintenance and infrastructure repairs can be planned and be conducted. Additionally, they can, the operators can prepare for extreme weather events such as storms, heat waves, blizzards, or floods, and implement precision irrigation so that there is no waste of water. So the NAIADES weather forecasting approach is something like this. So we collect data from multiple locations. We train some artificial intelligence forecasting models, and then we predict future conditions for each location, and ultimately creating a localized forecasting service. This by itself, it has a huge potential for exploitation. But is there a market for it? The global market size for weather forecasting services was $1.2 billion in 2016. By next year, it will be 2.8 billion, and by 2030, it will be $4.2 billion as approximated. And out of this, the short-term forecasting, it takes more than the half of all weather-related services. So we've seen the pilot cities again and again, but here we mentioned that The weather forecasting toolkit has been developed under different conditions, because Alicante is hot and sunny and drought, Caruz is rainy and cold, and Braila is cloudy and warm. So after training and deploying these models, we see that the results have been very promising. We have deployed the toolkit in order to provide the error from the trained model when it's producing the forecasts. There is also some mechanisms to deal with some anticipated hardware faults that produce data gaps, and in order to provide uninterrupted forecasts by retrieving the last available data further back. And this forecast that we see right now is averaged in 6-hour intervals. So, is there a competition for this toolkit? Of course, there is. There is a huge competition. We have some large corporations that are very, very big, like the Weather Company from IBM and the Global Weather Corporation. We have some medium-sized companies, but they are more tech focused, like DeepMind, that they have developed some models that they are more accurate than any forecasting models that they exist at the moment. And we have a lot of startups that they are providing some extra novel and innovative services that they use to stand out in the market. But concerning the competition in water management, from the research that we have done, we see that all the water management software that exists, they do not have any integrated weather forecasting. So there is something for the NAIADES solution right there. So what is the exploitation strategy that we follow? We plan to use the weather forecasting toolkit as an AI as a service, which will be subscription based. It will use some modular billing schemes, and it will be tailor-made based on the weather variables that the end user or the client wants. So the exploitation within the NAIADES platform is that it's an integrated AI microservice, as I mentioned before. It's tethered with the NAIADES environmental weather station that it has been developed within the NAIADES project. And it is a key component because not only it provides forecasts, but it is used as an input from other AI services. However, there is a thought for exploitation as a standalone service, which is possible because the weather forecasting toolkit, since it is a data-driven application, it's the domain invariant, so it doesn't have to apply only in water sector-related domain, and it can be operational with any data stream that it is available. However, as a weather-only service, it's limited compared to the services it provides in comparison to all the heavy competition that there is out there. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this clear presentation. And yeah, as I can see, this service has been developed with a clear exploitation route in mind. So thank you. Let's see if the audience has some questions later after the last pitch from Manuel Fernández from advanticsys about the data collection and aggregation module that has been developed for Nayades. Manuel, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Manuel Fernández. I'm from advanticsys, and I have been in charge of the development of the data collection and aggregation component, the DCA, within the NAIADES platform, specifically in one of the pilots. Well, first of all, let's take a look at where in the project the DCA is located. It's basically located, it's external to the actual NAIADES platform itself. And basically, there are several implementations of the DCA, one for each of the projects in the each of the pilots in the project. Now, the DCA, unlike the rest of the components, is a low-level component. It basically interacts between the Nayades platform and the client infrastructure. Understanding the infrastructure, like all the available monitoring systems that the client has in place that provide the data from the sensors that are deployed or any kind of devices that they have. So its main role is like the connection, basically, between these existing systems and the platform itself. Now, what is the value proposition of this component, exploitation-wise? The idea is to prevent the customer to having to devote people and resources to integrate the data within the platform. So at the end, trying to remove or at least reduce the cost barrier of adopting the Nayades platform for a client that could be interested in it. Now, the component itself has this is an overview of the architecture, specifically focused on the Alicante pilot, but basically it's a component that is formed of different modules, of different subcomponents. And on the left side of this picture, of this diagram, we see the interaction with the client infrastructure as one of the pilots here. And on the right side, we see the connection with the platform itself. Even though it has several components within the DCA, I would say that there are two main components of the DCA component of the DCA module, which is the scheduler and the sender subcomponent. So let's take a look at each of them. Now, the scheduler subcomponent is basically in charge of connecting directly with the client infrastructure. Now, the data that arrives from the client or that the client has available, what can be considered as data sources to the DCA. So basically, there has to exist some kind of protocol connector or data source connector to each of them. And they have been designed in a modular way so that if we have to add new ones for a new kind of protocol support, we can do so more or less in an easy way. The idea behind the scheduler, and that is why it has that name, is to perform periodic data retrieval from the data sources and to store that available data in the installed repository within the component. The repository, as I say there, it also stores the configurations that specify the way that the scheduler has to connect to the client infrastructure and when and in using which protocol and so on. And basically they do like a temporal storage of that data in that repository. Okay. Continue. Then the other subcomponent is the sender component, which is aware at all times that new data is available in the repository, and adapts. Basically, it extracts this information, this data samples, and assembles them in specific packets according to the platform, the Nayades platform data model that has been established, and periodically sends them to the platform, obviously including all kind of security, signatures, and so on that are needed within the Nayades platform. Now, the DCA is essentially a software component, so it is quite light in the sense of the needed infrastructure that it requires. It can be installed in any kind of machine, really. Within the project, we have been using it in a cloud virtual machine, but eventually, I mean, potentially it could be installed in the client's premises because I don't know, maybe some client has some sort of I don't know, requirement that they have to have any kind of software installed in their premises. So it shouldn't be difficult to install it there, or even have different installations, because this is very scalable. It is, as I said, modular, so you can install several iterations of this component, and each of them is in charge of a different data source, for example. Now, specifically regarding the pilot of the project, the Alicante pilot, well, regarding protocol connectors, so the connection to the left, which is the connection with the client's infrastructure, we designed, or we implemented, sorry, the CSV file gatherers, and in which we could access FTP servers to retrieve CSV files with data, and we could also launch FTP servers, so that it was the client's SCADA system that was pushing data files to those FTP servers, to which the DCA component was extracting them and parsing them and storing the information, and also an API data source to a weather service to have information regarding the weather conditions in the specific pilot. At the end, only the CSV file gathered was discarded at the end in this project. So we are always retrieving information from the FTP file server, and it is the client infrastructure, the SCADA system that they have in place, that is pushing whenever they want data to this FTP server, and we are basically parsing it from there. So as you can see, basically you have to add connectors depending on what the client has available. So if the client has another kind of technology, well, a new connector will have to be or launched or designed, implemented, and added to the provided libraries of connectors, basically. Well, after that, that information was gathered, we also had the corresponding configurations within the repository of the DCA, which linked the client's signals to the existing entities in Nayades. Specifically for this project, regarding entity types, we were using weather observes and device, which were more applicable for this specific pilot. But in any case, several, other kind of configurations could be stored eventually, and a new data models applied. It's no big deal to do that. At the end, the sender, the data was sent as JSON objects, array of JSON objects. Basically, each of them was a specific sample, because in this particular case, this pilot data was sent at the end of the day, basically with several samples that were gathered for each of the measuring points with their corresponding timestamp and values. That's it.
Thank you, Manuel. Yes, as the audience could see, we have moved from the higher layers to this lower layer in the architecture, and I think this component is part of the same strategy in which Nayades ecosystem wants to find a position in the market by reducing the need of initial capex in water utilities. So the point is to avoid adding new sensors, adding new PLCs, SCADA, and so on, and get the most of data currently generated by utilities and municipalities. So I think now this was the last presentation, so I think now is the time for some questions and answers. I saw some activity in the chat about the Water Consumption Awareness Hub. I saw Gerardo Zaldúa was interested in such kind of results. So I don't know if you have any particular question for the researcher.
Hi, thank you, Jose. No, I just find it very interesting and wanted to maybe we could ask a little bit whether you actually have talked to different schools and what is sort of like the reaction, whether they are actually planning to take that further, and whether you're planning also yourself to explore that further and expand it maybe in future projects or so.
I think Evangelia or even Ignacio is, if it is in the call, can answer these questions.
Hi, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. I was just saying that the issue with the schools initiative looks very promising. I think it could be something quite exciting, and I wanted to ask what the reaction was from the people or the school representatives that you have talked to, and whether you're planning to expand that further, either in a follow-up project or already picking it up from the commercial end.
Okay, yes. From the first round of evaluation, we received feedback from students regarding the school dashboard, and the feedback was good. The dashboard helped students to reduce their school consumption. We'll analyze the questionnaires that we receive in order to calculate the percentage of behavioral change. And I think that Ignacio is planning to make a second round of evaluation in the next academic year in order to participate more schools and to get to analyze again the school dashboard.
Well, thank you very much. That sounds very exciting. It really it brought me sort of the image of this American schools, you know, being all about their football team. And I think if we have to take, and I think we do, take these issues of water scarcity and water use more seriously over here as well, maybe that could be a good channel to explore using the pride of the schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. I don't know if someone else has any question for the speakers. Yeah, I think this is the goal of this webinar is at least to give you a first an indication on what we have been working on during the last 3 years, and maybe to try to find some ways of collaboration in the future, not only well, as of course potential interest in the exploitation, but also as link to further projects in the near future. I think Andreas raised his hand.
Yes, I had a question. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. I had a question about, you talked about this system would reduce the capex of the municipalities. Have you made any calculation on it, or do you have had any receptions from municipalities and reactions about how they see these systems?
Yeah, I must say that that is one of the ongoing tasks during the next 2 months. Sorry, we are performing cost-benefit analysis for each of the use cases and validation in each of the pilots. So this information, at least because this will be some confidential information, but at least we will be able to show some indications on how is the impact on that. But I mean, by design, the project itself had the goal to digitalize water sector in such a way that we are not doing a revolution in current devices, networks, SCADAs and PLCs, with all the not only the capex implications, but also the training curve, learning curve of workers and so on. So what we tried is to work on the digital side as much as possible, trying to get the most of the existing data, and only in some specific cases, like I mean, where there were no data available for implementing these components, in such use cases were the only ones in which we develop and install physical solutions. But the overall goal of the project was to try to adapt to the existing infrastructure. Yeah, but anyway, we will share some conclusions after the final review about this cost-benefit analysis of the whole solution. Yes.
Well, thank you for a good answer.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Jose. Well, I would like, maybe for the sake of clarity for the audience, if maybe you could summarize very briefly what are the innovations of the project. I think maybe I think you mentioned them, but I think it will be nice to highlight them a bit more and summarize them a bit. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would say, and this is how I see it. I mean, there is a huge innovation in each of the single results, and I think in most of the cases it has been shown in the presentations, and also in other results that we are not presenting today. But overall, the main innovation with regard to Nayades is basically the integrated ecosystem in which many different services are running on top of the same platform. And the innovative aspect about this approach is that in the future, this Nayades ecosystem, on one hand, will be adapted to user needs. I mean, each water utility and even municipalities will have specific needs, so the way it will be exploited will be highly dependent on those needs, having specific licenses based on each module usage. We refer to weather prediction, we refer to forecasting, water leakages detection, saline intrusion detection, and this kind of stuff. So, of course, the platform itself and the services themselves will be based, I mean, will be let's say, adapted to user needs. So you don't need to pay for those services, those modules that you won't like to pay. I mean, you don't need to pay. And on the other hand, this is the entry point as well for external services in the future, third-party services that are not currently part of the Nayades ecosystem, but they will be there. I'm referring to other companies, other researchers that may develop new modules that we have not developed so far, and that would like to have some let's say some room, some space in our platform as a kind of marketplace catalog that can be offered to customers as a unique selling point for those customers. So I know that perhaps my answer is quite generic, but I think innovation in such integrated platform is quite an asset. And one of the main barriers, as I explained, is of course the bottleneck about investment in physical equipment to run this kind of platforms. And I think from the very beginning, this was clear, and this is how we are approaching the end of the project with the same view, the same requirements. And of course, the end of this project is just a milestone, but I am sure there will be life beyond the end of the project. And as we have seen, indeed, the users will keep on using some of the results that have been developed so far. So I'm sure this is just the starting point of this adventure. So yeah. Anyway, we will, as I explained to Andreas before, we will have some information, open information for all the interesting parties. We are planning to use as well the Horizon results platform provided by the European Commission to promote, if not all the results, at least the most promising ones, or the, let's say, the ones that are closer to the market.
Thanks, Jose. I think it was clear.
Thank you. Any other question? I just wanted to use these last minutes to have some feedback from the audience about the pitches made today. So if you don't mind, I will share with you 3 polls. Of course, they will be anonymous, so feel free to answer as you wish. And about the presentations we made today, the results, the content, and how you see the maturity of each of the results. This will be very valuable for us as well to have the views from external people not involved in the daily technical developments to make more attractive our value proposition, and of course, as I said, to perhaps adapt the message to further cooperation, not only in the market itself, but also in the research projects area in which I think all of us are involved in. So I will ask you if you can vote. I mean, I don't know if you see the first poll. If it doesn't pop up in your screen, you can find them in the chat. So it's a question about which was the best presentation, which one really grabbed and held your attention. So feel free to vote. You can vote several options if you want. Yeah, sometimes in this kind of pitch exercises, it's not only the quality of the technical developments, which is, of course, without any doubt, high in these 5 presentations, but also how the message is given and how easy is to make it to understand by external attendees. So I'll give you few more seconds to finish for those who have not voted yet. Okay, I think we have a winner here. Thank you for that. Then the next poll is about well, which solution seems more clear and has proven to have a more credible value proposition. So it's not only about the quality of the presentation, but also which one do you think is more credible in terms of value proposition? So please give a vote. Okay, a few more seconds to finish the poll. Okay, and so here it seems the Water Consumption Awareness Hub is the one who is believed to be more credible in terms of value proposition. Okay, and the last poll I would ask you to fill in is about, well, which one is the most attractive solution for a real market need? So if you would be the buyer, which one do you think is more mature or is closer to the market? Which one would you like to know more about it? These kind of answers are very valuable for us because it gives us, well, if you've been involved in any startup pitch session, this is quite a common way to filter or at least to rank. This is not about ranking. It is about having feedback on your, your interest based on your particular knowledge about the water sector and the real needs your colleagues, customers, your contacts have. Okay, so I think we are almost done, almost 11:30, so we've been right on time. So yeah, I really thank you for joining us today. I expect that, I hope this will not be the last contact with NAIADES project. I invite those who still are not part of our LinkedIn group, newsletter receivers, Twitter followers, this to join us because I am sure that even beyond the end of the project, these groups will be very valuable to keep contact and maybe to work together. So I really thank you for joining us, and yeah, please stay in touch, stay connected, because new news about the project will come in the next months. We will finish by the end of November, so I am sure we will be publishing some interesting material for all of you, and probably we will be organizing more webinars as we are approaching the end. So thank you all, and yeah, have a nice day, nice weekend.
Thank you, Jose.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you. Bye.
Thank you, Jose. Bye, everybody.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.